cross-play available now, guys, across basically every high-res game. PlayStation 4 just joining the fray. My name is Pretty Hair. Welcome back to what appears to be Sweep Week here in the SMITE Console League. I'm joined by my loving friend and co-host, Ryan Agro Bailey, to bring you the home stretch.
That's right. So glad that I could be here for your first foray into the SMITE scene, and I feel like Sweep Week might continue here. I mean, Hype Unit, the cream of the crop across all console regions, across both consoles. Fatal Ambition certainly have their work cut out for them.
All righty, we'll get into picks and bans here in just a moment to see what Fatal Ambition are able to do against the current reigning champions. Hype Unit picking up a fair bit, a great console roster, and Paladins as well. Really starting to pick up a lot of steam here as an organization across the high-res family.
Minor League as well on PC. They've got a top-end team in North America. So you're right, Hype Units, they've been killing the game as of late for sure.
For sure. AMC takes a seat. Zhong Kui. Might have to revisit the Zonger Donger. I didn't know how strong he was.
Yeah, remember how I said that getting all this farm and all these items is really good? That is the most true on Zhong Kui of all characters, because he does so much damage, his cooldowns are pretty low, and he gets naturally
so
tanky.
Easy.
I mean, yeah, exactly. And you just
you can't mess it up.
Slam Y and you just start waddling into the team fight, and you're good to go. Like how do you ever mess it up?
Yeah, you can't mess that kid up, man. It's awesome. One of the ones I love to go back to revisit, especially when I'm a little rusty.
Yep.
Because it's impossible to goof it. Morrigan and Gab will also be taking a seat. Didn't get to see any set today, man. Maybe in game 2. Definitely a character I want to watch a little bit of.
Yeah, good luck with that. We don't see a whole lot of set these days. He's always banned. He's so potent. He can play so many different roles. He plays jungle at a top tier. He plays solo at a top tier. I think he can play mid and ADC. He just all-ins. He's the best 1v1 character in the entire game. And if you put him in that long lane right now in this meta, I think that he just tears him up.
How do you build that? Is he more of an auto attack based or more item cooldown based?
You can do both. That's what's really cool about him. I prefer the Transcendence build and going this, really poke heavy comp, and then you just kind of go in at the right time and use your last few autos. A lot of people like Blackthorn Hammer, Frostbound, and using that health to be able to stay in the middle of the fight. You can do a lot of things.
Yeah, I suppose it matters what role you're playing, like you just mentioned. Like there's a lot of ways to go with it. Thor will be the way that Fatal Ambition go with it. First, Wukong, Odin. Response here from Hype Unit.
Interesting. I mean, Wukong is a god that Hype Unit likes to put in jungle sometimes, like to put for wolves in the solo lane. Layers and wolves are the dudes, and Odin has always been permabanned against Hype Unit because wolves just plays it so well. I swear he has a passive buff as a person that his characters do more damage, and Odin's is like 20% more than that even. He one-shots people on Odin all the time. I play Odin, I don't do anything, I don't understand, no one else does it. Wolves is the best Odin in the world, and that's that.
And that is that. Thoth will be locked in here. Final selection here, of course, Ganesha and Janus for Fatal Ambition as we head into our next section of picks of bans. I did see a little bit of Janus, banned out only in the second phase. I think in our previous set when there was no mages picked up yet for the opposing team.
Yep, not seen as much of these days because mid gets so much less farm. Kind of going back to those Season 1, Season 2 days where you're triple splitting all the time. Janus kind of needs a little bit of that momentum, but can still make a ton of plays. We've seen Heroin, the Pro League level, actually take him by himself into the long lane and hard carry a game over there, but that's Heroin's Janus, and that is a different level. I think that Janus is a character that can work, but you have to play a more utility style. A lot of people like to play him like he's a burst mage. Doesn't work right now in the meta because you just don't get enough farm to be a true burst mage a lot of the time.
Not enough to blow him up. Hercules will also be stepping out for this one. King Arthur held the final 2 bans for the Hype Unit boys, of course. A little bit of flexibility over there for Hype Unit, I think, in terms of what's going to be solo or support or the jungle, but you kind of, I think you have locked down where you think this Odin's going to be.
Yeah, I think I'd be shocked if Odin doesn't go to Wolves. I do think Wukong could certainly be a pick for Inbound right here. Merlin keeps the draft very open. I'd immediately be looking at Horus if I'm Hype Unit to get that triple warrior sort of physical damage that you have to respect, while also having all this magical damage by way of Thoth and Merlin.
Which of these mages is put in the long lane, I think, to get all of that farm?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think Thoth is better at it. I think that he just pushes farm better, and Merlin still has a little... Like, Thoth only brings damage for the most part, right? He has a little bit of CC by way of the dash, but overall, Merlin brings more CC. Right now, if you're not getting farm and you're not going to be able to do that damage, you should at least bring some sort of utility. Merlin has the slow, the vortex pull, the prot tread on the fire stance. I think Merlin's a little bit better in mid right now, but either one is probably fine. Hype Unit has the best 2 Thoth players in all of console, by the way. They picked up Crimson for ADC, and he has moved over there. It was only between him and oBoronic for best Thoth player, so you can put it in either one's hands. And I'm happy.
Well, Warriors are the first 2 for the hype unit, the last 2 for Fatal Ambition, but you called it right on the spot there. Horus will round this one out for the hype unit. 3 Warriors, 2 Mages. Simply put, a lot of front line here and a hell of a lot of backline damage from Thoth and Merlin, man.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I mean, Fatal Ambition looks like it's going to be something like something weird in the ADC role. Maybe Vamana ADC, could be Thor ADC. I don't know. They're going to try and do something to put some pressure on one of these mages. And I like that. I say it a lot when it comes to these games where you're not as good of a team. If you're Fatal Ambition, you are not as good of a team as hype unit, and that's not disrespect. It's just fact. So why try and play their meta? Why try and play the gods they're used to playing against? Why try and play into their game plan? Do something weird to throw them off balance, because if you're playing the same odds, you're likely to lose. Try something different. Achilles ADC, not traditional, probably not the best thing in the world, but it's different, and it might throw Crimson off balance, and it might get you a lead.
Is he going to be able to keep up clearing this wave alongside Thoth?
No, not in the early game at least. I mean, Not a Pen is going to have to hold this for a little bit. Thoth is one of those characters that you really don't want to play against a lot of the time, because he just pokes you so well and keeps you at a distance really, really well. So maybe not the best time to pull out this weird pickup. I do think the idea is solid. Putting a warrior over there. We've seen some assassins start to creep their way into the long lane because they 1v1 mages and hunters very, very well. And warriors can do it as well.
Well, Master as well, going to force out the beats here in the middle lane, almost grabbing the first blood on a Soul Reaper. Portals himself out to safety. Have to call that win for the hype unit boys. They do force that long cooldown active ability. Small engagement in the jungle happening between the supports, but more of a slap fight than anything, I think, at this stage of the game.
Bobby just keeping uFallen at bay. Now it's the traditional 3v3 in mid. These side laners get to hang out and get all this farm for themselves. This hype unit composition is designed to fight very well in the mid game. Its early game 3v3 can certainly do work. Its late game is solid as well, but come 14 to 16 minutes, right around that area, I'll bet you they'll be pulling Gold Furies. They just will have a lot of damage at that point in the game. Their warriors will still feel really tanky. Their mages will start to be dealing damage. The warriors' damage will not have fallen off at that point, and they'll have some advantage there.
Quick question. Is there a way to tell if there's a health potion ticking other than just kind of watching the health bar in the early game?
Not
or
a whole
having seen
lot.
them pop it?
Yeah, if you don't see them pop it, then it's kind of just watching their health tick up is the main one for sure.
First blood going to go the way of hype unit there. That 3v3 collapsing in their favor. Ganesh will be sent back to base, but he's already back up, respawn, heading back out to lane. My next question about like this, all this kind of funny business over here in the long lane. When you move not only what types of characters and moving from ADCs to mages, but how it's played in a more 1v1 scenario, did those same players playing in the duo lane, like the ADC player, pick that up, or did the mid players come over to start playing this role? Because I know it's so many different dynamics.
Right, it's a very different god pool for sure. A lot of hunters did just kind of pick up new gods. Dignitas in the Pro League is the one team that made a full role swap with this meta and put Whirlwind from mid over into the long lane, moved Ataraxia to mid. And they just, Ataraxia basically exclusively plays hunters. Whirlwind plays mages or whatever. He has played a little bit of assassin as well. But that is the idea. I mean, so many mid laners these days are only playing hunters that you can afford to put a hunter player there. Pittsburgh Knights tried it for a little bit. They kind of defaulted back to where they were before with zeros in mid now. But it's something that a lot of teams experimented with. And just because of, I think it's a lot easier to learn 4 new gods than it is to learn a whole new role in the way that your laning dynamics works. That I'm surprised that there's even been one team that stuck with it. But Dignitas looked good, and I think it makes sense for him.
I think one of the questions I would have is that whenever I feel like I play solo lane, I feel like as a solo laner, there's so many little tiny nuances to each and every matchup that you have to know.
Yep.
But I guess part of that comes down to like you're getting pressure over here, and it feels like as the long lane guy, those 1v1 minutia things aren't quite as important because you're getting largely left alone anyway.
Yeah, it's also that they also don't have those innate little minutia things down because they are
like
also hunter players, right? Because they're also playing mage, and you're just kind of like, are we doing this right the entire time?
Yeah, that's funny.
We're playing it like hunters. In this case, we're playing it with a warrior and a mage. Crimson's playing this properly. Just keep not a pen at range. Don't get close to him. And just clear the wave close to your tower line, pull him out of position, Eventually, Layers is going to come over here and gank an Autopen, and he's going to be sad. Crimson's going to get huge, and Hype Unit's probably going to win off of it.
Okay, we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. For 4 minutes, 30 seconds into the game here. 2 kills for Hype Unit. Not a giant lead to speak of, but about one and some change here. We head towards the 5-minute mark. Early game, not quite as decisive as I feel the rival set was, at least from where I'm sitting. A lot of pressure early into the enemy jungle, past half court, if you will, is a metaphor I like to use a lot here. It feels like Hype Unit have largely been able to find a lead on their side of the map, and with these few couple of kills they've gotten.
The mid 3v3 certainly more successful for them, but I believe they'll eventually start trying to transition this lead over to a side lane. Might not be solo with how well Pitbull's doing over here, trading effectively with Wolves, but Wolves is doing what he wants in this instance. He's keeping Pitbull kind of occupied as the wave pushes, make him lose a creep or two to the tower in terms of gold or in terms of experience by just outright zoning.
A little pressure here from Wukong into the backside. Initially getting the better end of that trade. Jungler versus jungler crime. Blue buff is up, ready to be fought over. 1, 2, 3, 4 Hype Unit players collapsing on the blue buff. I don't even think the blue buff is enough for them. They want to look for this kill. It's going to force Colossal Fury out for the time being. Back to lane just to clear up, grab some gold. But Vamana will lose his buff when it's all said and done.
Soul Reaper doesn't even use the ultimate. He could have gotten himself and fallen there pretty quickly, but decides it's better for them to just play it slow. This might be a good opportunity to engage, but Oboronic dodges the dash and Fallen's immediately in trouble.
Calming sensation, but look at the Anvil of Dawn coming in to turn the tables around, just juking, knowing he's getting help from inside of the jungle's layers up, layers down, no damage. Jingle Bang finds a small, but not enough damage on the godlike Fallen. It will be just a 1-for-0 trade there for Fatal Ambition. They come away with it.
Big bait there by Fallen. Intentional as always, I'm sure, to get Oboronic and Inbowned to full commit onto him with JPrro in the sky on the left side of the map. Probably Hype Unit was expecting him to come from the right, maybe trying to re-rotate into that blue buff invade, but JPrro started back to the left right away, had given up that blue, and caught Hype Unit on a different angle.
Still a small lead here for Hype Unit, despite that kill. Fatal Ambition. You grab the stuff after the stuff.
Oh, you,
I've been paying attention.
You know the phrases, huh?
I know the phrases.
Okay.
A thing or two about a thing or two, if you will. Gold Fury looks like it is just now spawning as well. Red buff goes the way of Hype Unit? No, looks like Fatal Ambition. No, Hype Unit didn't manage to secure that one up.
Oboronic took half his HP, gonna return a little bit of that damage as Crimson has his ultimate, but not open, not in Thoth execute range, so to speak.
Thor's going to be able to blink in off the back of a double tap here, but no kills. Looks like both teams will call that one moot. Head back to each other's sides of the map. Continuing to farm up the jungle here. Gold Fury first of the game. Still available here as Wolves and Pitbull continue to slap away at each other. Not a lot of mana to work with if you're Pitbull, so I'm not sure he's too keen to pick a fight. As his blue buff is about to come up, looks like he will have the numbers to finally contest this one.
JPrro, local. Soul Reaper's got it back, but he can always ult in, but just based on where Hype Unit's position is, looks like they aren't too interested in going for this round of the invade. Neither team having a traditional hunter does mean that sieging is going to be a problem for both of them. It's going to have to be all fights instead of trying to zone away and get these towers and phoenixes. You got to just do the hard work and end up killing your opponent before you go for those.
Wolves gets one slap of the Gungnir's Might, I think just to grab minion aggro, stack them up, knock them down. The bowling ball combination there. Given the first 2 kills of this game happened fairly quickly, I thought this was going to be a bit of a bloodbath here for Hype Unit. Inbound, kind of playing around here in the jungle. Clearly looking ready to fight. Clearly he's got teammates waiting in the wings. Anvil of Dawn down on a 2. Huge damage from Thor. Almost grabs Oboronic, but he's able to skirt the aggression for now. Double stun from Achilles. Double dash in from Achilles. He gets the portal away. Wukong trying to make it up into the cloud. He will just barely be able to do so here. Inbound still fighting and down from the cloud. Layers will grace us mortals with his presence. Grabs the only kill of that rather huge engagement and makes it out scot-free.
Oh, Inbound wants to keep it going, though. To the skies he goes. Going to drop down onto Fallen, but Wolves called off the engagement. Weird fight there overall because Oboronic could have gotten full comboed, but JPrro holds the hammer, which is a big part of what you want to use to get that one-shot potential. Ends up not using it. That means Oboronic escapes on a low health threshold. It doesn't even use the purification beads. Soul Reaper then, late in the fight, steps up to try and hit a max range unstable vortex on Boronic as he's backing. It isn't even in the same area code and ends up falling because of it. Wonder if he would have backed it up a little bit, if that could have worked. But maybe his portal was still down as he had portaled layers out of the Achilles execute that Not a Pen was trying to throw his way. Bit of miscommunication. Portal, much like Banish, ends up hurting your team about as often as it helps you.
Yeah, tough stuff there. Highs are highs and the lows are lows for Janus. Now that lead has started to extrapolate into something a little bit more substantial here. 2,800 gold now for Hype Unit. Still not a lot of kills spelling the lead or the hole for either squad. It's really about just a couple of things here. In the jungle, big bomb on the blue buff. Looks like MOR Wolves is wanting to fight this one. He knows he's got reinforcements coming. The cage comes out. Anvil of Dawn to try and escape. Jingle Bang up over the top. Little parting gift for Thor there. Shield is going to make sure that clear the path doesn't do too much damage here. JPrro just makes his rotation to back camps, but Layers has not had enough yet.
Make sure he sends him on his way before he takes that last heartbeat. Soul Reaper blinked on in mid. That's Bobby just trying to grab some relics from Soul Reaper, but he didn't have any to begin with. Beads are still on cooldown for 45 seconds, so not exactly patience, just that was his only option, was to hold that one.
Well, Wolves after that engagement, a little bit worse for wear in terms of resources. Pitbull looking to proxy this wave out in between the tier 1 and tier 2. Big engagement brewing here. Achilles is going to start it off with a nice stun. Huge damage from Janus. He gets the double clap there onto Inbound. Bobby will have to double take here if he wants to re-engage on this one to the back line again. Just trying to keep Layers away. Snipe goes a little bit wide right. Fatal Pro will make it back to base here. Hype Unit looking a little bit worse for wear after this engagement. Another will wind up in another pitch here. Layers grabs the first kill of this engagement. Will he be able to get out safely?
Man, so close for Fatal Ambition. I mean, Soul Reaper nearly finds a really sick ultimate, but can't seem to decide if he wants to use it for portals or for damage. Ends up not getting a whole lot of either end of that. JPrro has been forced out of every single fight so far because Layers has been so aggressive on this Wukong.
Damn.
And the fact that Crimson is just a level 12 Thoth, it's really hard to fight him at this point in the game. He's just doing an awful lot of damage from range and took basically no damage in that engagement. Even with his ult missing, is still outputting a good amount.
Crimson's going to grab the Oracles here. Vision around the Gold Fury now for Hype Unit as we head towards the 12-minute mark here. That lead continuing just to creep in favor of Hype Unit. They're not winning these fights in huge numbers, but they're not losing them either. Again, we're getting the better ends of these trades. They're just looking for, I think, one big fight, one big multi-kill to kind of crack this game wide open, start grabbing some of these more major objectives. No pyros taken, no golds taken, no funny business around the Fire Giant yet either, as both teams look for a decisive victory.
It's just tough right now if you're Fatal Ambition because you're doing pretty well across the map.
They really are.
I mean, Pitbull's holding his own on the solo side despite losing a couple blues. JPrro, despite getting forced out quite a bit, only down about a level. Same can be said for Soul Reaper. And then you look over to this Achilles ADC for Not a Pen. He's down 2.5 levels right now, and it's going to be really tough to fight around him, and that's exactly where Hype Unit's going to want to go soon. Towards this Gold Fury is the exact time, where that can really become a problem for Fatal Ambition.
Fight me here, says MOR Wolves, and Pitbull's just going to laugh that one off. Stands still during the Ring of Spears. Just walks away largely unscathed. Wolf doesn't have a ton of mana to continue that engagement either. And I think just looking at who you want to get a ton of farm on, it feels like Achilles is obviously not a mage, but kind of wants to get that farm and be able to one-shot you and maybe get the execute off. But in terms of sustained damage over the course of like a long late game fight, I don't feel like Achilles is like my man for that.
No, he's really not. I mean, you can go with this, you know, Scream did it first sort of build as JPrro going to have to go up in the sky first. The layer is going to follow him, but a little bit lower.
No flying plane here for Layers. He's going to look to dunk on the backside. Finds two. Jingle Bang. Not super excited about the chance to commit there as a perhaps a more juicy target in the backside, forcing out Colossal Fury. Huge snipe. Makes Oboronic think twice about surging forward any longer. In and out here, Janus with so much mobility. Pitbull back to full health after Big Baby. He's more than happy to continue the aggression. Dodges out. The Tiger stun there. Wolves diving under a tier 2 by himself, trying to clean up JPrro as Pitbull disengages on the front side of this fight. He's just one more rotation of cooldowns. Doesn't have the legs to get there. Never skip leg day, folks.
Speed buff works right there for JPrro, and Wolf gonna need some help. Execute is there from Not a Pen. We gotta get him there first.
Big up down Dharmic Pillars, but crushed from back behind the purple camp. Thoth is able to find a big old connection here. Soul Reaper rotates back in for a little bit more fun, as it looks like Crimson will rotate out for the final time in this fight. Again, not a huge decisive victory either way, but it's Hype Unit just coming barely out in front of that, which does guarantee them a bunch of jungle on the way out, and this slow bleed is starting to turn into a problem for Fatal Ambition.
But you've got great big team fight potential for Fatal Ambition. I mean, if you're down this about 3K that they are right now, actually closer to 4, is JPrro gonna get a successful invade on the enemy speed. Good test there, but I mean, if you hit one big Janus snipe once, Soul Reaper's actually got more damage online. If JPrro hits a big
that was
dunk,
already almost a problem.
Yeah, exactly. He almost one-shot oBoronic in that fight already, so Fatal Ambition have big play potential with this draft. They just have to stay close enough to where it can actually pay off, and then the thing that's easier said than done, make the big play happen. But JPrro's gone with a tankier option, going Void Shield right off the bat. Popular item on Thor, but not usually first overall. Could be a Transcendence next to try and get a whole bunch of power. I feel like against this triple warrior frontline, though, you want some earlier pen than this. I mean, yes, Void Shield does provide you some pen by way of the aura, but I think I would have preferred to see JPrro go with some more penetration on the back half here, right after the boots and the Void Shield, than the Transcendence or Heartseeker that it looks like he's going for.
Still no major objectives contested here as we head north of 16 minutes. Big engagement here brewing. This tier 1 is not very healthy, so yes, they're fighting around it convincingly because it's going to go down. Dropship, like it's about ready to take off to the backline, trying to land on Thor, bringing 2 members with us, 1 additional member. Slayers is going to be that guy, but doesn't land, so they just kind of back off. Head towards the Gold Fury. Ahead, yes, but ahead enough to feel confident forcing a major objective?
Probably not. The relic situation's pretty even between the 2 teams. It's really just that uFallen hasn't backed for his second relic. Inbound hasn't yet either, but Fallen's 2 levels behind the level gate on that. So if I'm Hype Unit, I'm sending Inbound back to base. Grab your second relic, especially now that he has Relic Dagger. It's going to be on a much lower cooldown when he use it. And let's force a fight, because we just have an extra team fighting option that Fatal Ambition does not have, and that's often the deciding factor in a lot of these fights.
You may or may not know the answer to this, but I know in PC it's not uncommon to just drop a quick timer in for relic timers, beads, things like that. On console, you just kind of have to do it off the top of your head.
All up here, baby. That was my job back on my team. I had to keep track of beads timers, and let me tell you, I am terrible with numbers. I had to practice for so long to just get, okay, they beads it this amount of time, what's that, plus 160 seconds, and then you have to remember it afterwards. You got to keep track of everyone's timers. It is tough. Usually it comes down to 1 or 2 people's jobs.
Pain in the ass, it sounds like to me. 3v2 here in the mid lane. Nobody able to grab a kill off of that. Wolves happy to kind of contest a 1v2 here under a tier 1. Surges back even further, probably just to proxy this wave. Grabs the aggro, drops the bomb. Bada bing, bada boom here. No camps really up to contest on this side of the map just yet, so Soul Reaper's going to come out of base. Head to the left side of the map where there's a lot of stuff coming up. Oracles, mids, red, these backs likely to go his way as well.
Full CDR already for Soul Reaper. This build does quite a bit of damage. It gets you full CDR very early. Only problem with it is that it doesn't have a whole lot of innate MP5, and Janus is a character that's going to use a lot of mana very quickly in a lot of fights. And Soul Reaper has to be very wary of that, and how much he's using his thresholds and portals to move around the map. It's a bit of a pain, and this build has a lot of advantages, but losing that MP5 certainly hurts him.
Hype Unit, the reigning champions here. I have to say they are still giving a lot of kind of respect. They're not forcing anything. They're not really, walking wherever they wanted like I was watching Predators do in that rival set earlier. So Fatal Ambition, certainly an opponent to be respected here. I think we are seeing just that. Not a pen. Watches as his purple buff gets started here. Obviously with the power to contest this, a lot of burst damage, kill confirmed. There's definitely an engagement brewing, a lot of damage from Merlin early. He's himself finding himself chain slow to the backside. Janus looks for the big snipe. Can't quite find a ton of damage. Double tap there on the inbound. Oboronic trapped in the Gold Fury pit will be the first casualty of war. Layers comes in to even the score. But on the backside of this fight, trouble is still brewing. Soul Reaper is back there. The Ring of Spears goes down and will lock in Not a Pen. It looks like Pitbull couldn't provide much in the way of peel here. Now he's just getting surrounded and pounded by 3 members. We'll have that clear the path, I'm sure, soon, but soon enough, Ryan, I don't know. Goes in, wants to just get as much damage done as I think he realizes. As yet another member of Hype Unit comes pouring out of the jungle, it's just a matter of time.
A lot of resources invested to kill Oboronic, but Oboronic does what every mid laner has to do in those minutes, and that's just get out all of my damage. Dump it all, because I'm going to go down, and Oboronic does enough damage and does the secondary job, which is bait the team into a bad position. He kind of corrals them all into this Gold Fury pit, which is exactly where Crimson wants them, in a small area where he can consistently hit them with a lot of damage. Inbounds right there, he's able to teleport away, bait the rest of Fatal Ambition into a bad spot. It isolates Not a Pen on the backside. Oboronic definitely has that veteran mid laner vibe, understanding that at a competitive level, for any squishing, it's not just mid, for ADC or mid, if they want you dead, they can commit enough to kill you. Yeah. It's just a matter of what can you force them to commit, how much can you get off in that time. Living is not the end goal. That's the trap for a lot of players. Dying is good in that instance for Oboronic. He just gets all the damage off and wins his team the fight.
There it is. Beautiful stuff. And that's the big team fight. The decisive win to crack that one open. I think it was a 3-for-1 when it was all said and done. Pitbull got forced way to the other side of the map. That almost 4,000 gold turns into a 6,400 gold lead. Gold Fury is claimed. A lot of map control here. Tier 1, left-hand side, already down. Tier 1 in the mid lane and solo lane, all dead for Hype Unit. Now they are going to start working on those Tier 2s. That's where they will turn their sights next to, forcing Fatal JPrro out for the time being.
Nice portal from Soul Reaper to keep Oboronic at bay, as he was looking to follow up. Speaking on the amount of respect that Hype Unit is showing Fatal Ambition, and the world champions you expect to just kind of walk in and dominate. Inbound catches the dash for Fallen. That's going to cause him some problems, but still tanky enough to survive. I think this is the sign of a really improved team, in that maybe Hype Unit at the beginning of the year, or maybe the end of last year even, before they won their world championship, probably just put the pedal to the metal and try and kill Fatal Ambition as fast as they can. But this feels much more calculated, much more surgical. And it's the sign, I think, of a confident team that knows that they can win a late game easily.
Oh, we'll see how about that. Triple Anvil of Dawn is going to land on a Hype Unit. They shrug it off for the most part. That triple warrior looking pretty thick at this stage of the game. They're not too worried about what Thor is dishing up. Maybe a little bit more Pen, as Agro mentioned earlier. Oh, and speaking of Pen, my goodness gracious, that's a warrior that just could not stand the test of metal that Hype Unit put to him. Into the back line, out of the back line. Not a Pen, doesn't want any more to do with that. Expends the ultimate just to get out safely. It's only a 1-for-0, but almost all of Hype Unit instantly dropship on over to the Pyromancer. Not for the Pyromancer, but to start Fire Giant.
May as well. You've got a 7K lead, and look at how fast this is going down. Not even a frenzy popped. JPro's here. No ultimate for him, but certainly has the hammer.
Fight a little bit here. Layers wanting to take this 2v1 for as long as he can. Bullform's going to get the knock-up. Hype Unit secure. Now as long as everybody gets out safely. And as that Horus dash can be used from 3 miles away. Looks like Inbound will be there. Peel is here as well if necessary. That's some big chunk damage coming out from Soul Reaper. Inbound is still here, still healthy, fighting with that Fire Giant buff as Wolves come in ready to dunk on somebody. Looks like he wanted it. Misread Fatal JPro's direction. They'll get out scot-free, but again, clean 5-man. Everybody's Fire Giant buff and ready to rock and roll.
And a bunch of power items finished at the exact same time. Pythag's piece done for Oboronic, Blackthorn Hammer for Wolves, Obsidian Shard for Crimson. It feels like a double whammy where you back, you spend some gold that you just bought, you feel so much stronger already, and you've got this Fire Giant buff. Already an 8K lead right now for Hype Unit, or just about. They've got 4,500 gold sitting in towers that they can get. You're feeling good.
This character's voice, man, I love it. I'm sure it's very funny to me because I don't have to listen to it every week, but
sure.
The camera just pans over. As we pan over to the long lane here. Gonna force out the beads here from JPrro. Tiger Stun's no good. That's not going to stop Layers. He's going to let one more love tap on the back of the skull here, as it looks like Hype Unit are going to group up, look for their first tier 2 of the game, and this is akin in value to a Gold Fury, so I think you're going to want to defend this one, if at all possible. The lead is starting to become a problem for Fatal Ambition. Their chances looking less and less good here. The Ring of Spears comes out. Colossal Fury has to be popped in response just to walk on through.
Vamana cares not for that ring anymore. A traditional counter pick against Vamana, now one of probably his better ones.
That's not always done that.
Nope. No, used to trap him in, stop all the healing. One of the best counter picks in the game for a long time, and now Colossal Fury goes through all player-made deployables, so Thor wall, Odin cage, Ymir wall, Kabrakan wall, you name it. Vamana cares not, as long as he has that all.
Headed through it. Another tier 2 attempt here in the mid lane. It's going down fairly quickly. In and out, though. This could be a good team fight for Fatal Ambition. And as Wolves jumps over the wall, Thor blinks back to the other side. He'll Scooby-Doo on each other. No damage done. No kills. Fallen Layers grabs the tier 2 on the solo side. And this is where you're starting to fear this lead. They're taking these fights kind of a man down. Nobody's dying. They're still getting towers elsewhere. This is good stuff for Hype Unit. This slow bleed is now starting to turn into a real hemorrhage.
Over 10K by a considerable amount now, and there is an Oni Fury still waiting.
I mean, yeah, look at all that.
For Hype Unit.
That's all the tier 2s in the last 3 minutes.
Drop. Soul Reaper. Don't want to be caught without a wall nearby as Janus. Literal no man's land for him. Wolves makes him pay with ease.
And this Oni Fury going to be started up. Nobody around to contest for Fatal Ambition. It's burned down in just a matter of seconds here. Hype Unit have plenty of jungle to fall back to as well. There's just farm everywhere. The coffers continue to be lined with gold here. Fatal Ambition counter will start up the Pyromancer. A little bit of gold, a little bit of XP, but it's just, you know, the best thing on the map for them at the moment.
Yep, exactly. It's something that Hype Unit would take in a little bit, so may as well take it for ourselves and make sure that they can't get it, at least for the moment. This Achilles ADC pick, I like the idea. I said at the very beginning, I think it's the right plan of action to throw something new at Hype Unit. You can't give Crimson Thoth, no matter what you pick in that instance, that if it's going to be Achilles, something like Susano or Camazotz that can close that gap, I think that it works a little bit differently. This is Crimson's best character, and you put him against a character that can't close that gap in Achilles. So it turned out to be a pretty easy laning phase for him. I'd like to see Fatal Ambition stick with this idea and try and keep Crimson off balance. He's a traditional mid laner, so new to this role as is, keep him off his toes.
Getting ready to go on the dropship here. Is he going to bring anybody with him, though? Doesn't look like it. Just heading to the mid lane. Maybe fishing for some relics here. Doesn't get a whole lot done, to be honest. Two kills to 10 here in favor of Hype Unit as they move their lead up to the 14,000 gold mark here. All the towers wiped off the map. We've got a Vamana as well here over just clearing up the long lane, so it might be a good time to either get engaged on a Phoenix or get ready for Fire Giant that looks like it's about to come up.
25 seconds left until that respawns. No reason to force a Phoenix fight right now. Just make sure that you're pretty safe around these objectives with that Fire Giant. Won't be enhanced as it turns enhanced at 30 minutes. But I don't know that we'll even hit that mark as Hype Unit look like they are commanding this game pretty easily from this position. This triple warrior front line has worked very, very well. No Titan's Banes on the other side is a little bit surprising to me. No sovereignty either for Fallen. But at the same time, you kind of need the magical aura from a Heartward Amulet or for Gauntlet of Thebes to try and help up against all this magical damage from Oboronic and Crimson. It's a tough composition to beat. I like this idea from Hype.
I mean, when your front line is keeping pace with your your carries, your damage dealers, your mages, it's like, what's the downside here? I mean, these guys are walking around doing whatever they want, bringing the CC, but also bringing the pain. Obviously, they're warriors, right? They're going to be tankier. They're going to be exposed and dealing damage in these fights longer. But when those mages can get in there and get involved. Look at Inbound as well, hovering above this team fight. He wanted to get something. Can you see that illusion of horror? You can see that silhouette up there?
No, it's all surprise. You don't see anything till the ground targeter.
Well, there's the Anvil of God into the Ring of Spears. Dharmic Pillars goes up as well. Finally, some kills back for Fatal Ambition. They make it a 2-0, even with the Fire Giant around their belts. Hype unit are falling apart in this team fight. They're going to try and get it done here with this front line. I don't know, the Warriors have done a lot of damage up until this point. Wolves comes crashing down, finds yet another kill. Nice Gungnir's SMITE to slow down Ganesh. And the Warriors have managed to turn this from a 2-0 into at least a 1-2, hoping to get at least one more. With that Fire Giant again around their belts, they're going to have the sustain to keep on fighting.
Going for the Phoenix now. It's slow work, but it's honest work. Someone's got to get it done. Layers trying to find a kill on his Soul Reaper, who steps up too far, and Inbound's able to take him down.
Oh man, another ring of spears. The shield is ready to go. It pops, does even more damage. The Phoenix dies all the while. These Warriors just so efficient. Another Dharmic Pillars. That cooldown reduction starting to come into effect. Notapen goes down. Not far behind him is Inbound. Layers continuing to slap away at this Vamana. They might just be able to pick him up as well. Up into the cloud, getting some healing. Clear the path into Colossal Fury. The healing isn't enough. Up, down from Odin. I just don't know. He's able to eke it out. Gets just one more shield. Finally pops. And Pitbull will fall. What a fight from the Warrior front line. Another Anvil of Dawn. The second wave of ultimates. My goodness gracious, boys, give me a breath.
I was gonna say, thank goodness you're used to those Paladins team fights back and forth. That was that was a lengthy one on that right side Phoenix, but finally Hype Unit able to break it. Oboronic and the rest of the team, really all of Hype Unit, group up way too much. JPrro may have found himself in a bad spot. Hammer down for just a minute. Mini knockup from that Elemental Mastery. Wolves has him under wraps. At least it forces him to commit the ultimate. Oboronic got insta-kill without using a relic on that right-hand side. That was that playmaking potential that we brought up at the very beginning. Janus, Thor, Dharmic Pillars, those are ultimates that can make plays. It happened for Fatal Ambition, but just might be too late.
Here's back up into the cloud here, through time and space.
No, not here.
I was like, dude, I know I'm gonna. It came out, and I said, that's probably wrong.
Yep, I did the same thing when I was on Paladins, man. It happens.
There's space and time.
Wow, Doug being toxic too by bringing it up.
Woo.
Listen, man.
You guys were first.
It's true.
I get it.
I said after I did Paladins, I came over there for a couple days, a couple weeks ago.
You up.
I immediately came back and said through time and space, and I got immediately roasted for it. So it's only fair. That
oh, you love to see it. You love to see it. For those of you that don't know, there's a character in Paladins named Janus, whose ultimate is through time and space. A little bit of a mix-up here for me. That's going to happen probably forever, so don't expect me to change that one anytime soon. 5 kills to 15 as we head north of 31 minutes.
You know what's funny about that is that every time someone says one of them, either way, I'm like, oh, that way definitely sounds better. Like through space and time obviously sounds way better. And then you say through time and space, I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty good actually. Maybe it is that one. I can never decide which one I actually like more. It's just whatever one I heard more recently.
However way you slice it. Not a good here. 2 Phoenixes dead. Speed buff coming up, if anybody cares. Still 2 members with the Fire Giant belt. He's about a minute out, crashing down in his enhanced form for the first time this game. See if Hype Unit even need that much time here. The grouping around the final standing Phoenix. JPrro just dancing and laughing his way off. As this one, you know, it feels over when you look at the gold screen, but the way that Fatal Ambition have been fighting definitely leads you believe something else. Pitbull in and out of the ring of spears. No kills just yet. Dropship looks like it went up and back down. Anvil of Dawn on the backside of the fight. More people falling lower and lower, but largely it looks like a disengage here from Hype Unit until it's not. Crushing damage from the back line here. Thoth connections in all sorts of way. Up into the cloud layers, looking for a dunk. And any unwilling target here. Vamana will be the recipient of it. Into the Tiger Spun, into the Master's Will. Just really setting up Thoth to tee off. Almost gets the kill. Pitbull escapes bloodied and beaten. The final Phoenix falls here as that slow bleed continues in Hype Unit. No objectives left on this map besides the Titan to fight for.
No fire waves for a minute, but this right side wave is a big one. Watch that coming into the Titan room. That's going to cause some problems. Fatal Ambition, can they clear that and the players?
I don't know. JPrro is preoccupied at the moment here. He doesn't want to let these minions get on there. A lot of AoE damage, but my goodness gracious. With no structured defenses left, that Titan crumbles almost instantly.
Man, close game, all things considered. I mean, they tried something different. It was still a good effort. As long as Fatal Ambition finds something that works a little bit better for Notapen in that lane, because he was a real non-factor that entire game, I feel like Fatal Ambition have a much better chance come game 2.
For sure. I felt like, you know, when we watched that rival set earlier, that was like, I almost felt like long lane was maybe supposed to be a given. Like, you just get at least one farmed person for your late game team fight. But again, Achilles was not the guy this time around. 0-4 for not a pen.
Maybe try a pen this time around, you know? Like, that one didn't work, so he wasn't a pen that game. You can try and be a pen here for game 2.
Like a pineapple pen? Like what flavored pen might we go for?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. I think that sounds pretty solid. I don't know. I have to make that joke every time we cast Fatal Ambition, and I have to give you the full SMITE game treatment, you know?
Well, I wouldn't expect anything else here. Honestly, consistency from Hype Unit. Nobody really doing it any more than, you know, somebody else on that squad. 20K, 28K, 24K, 24K from all across everybody except Inbowned. Obviously, the hard support there. Everybody else bringing a lot of heat.
Absolutely. Layers really did have a great game on this Wukong jungle, which is a weird pick and hard to kind of do damage with.
Yeah.
Layers loves that selection. Made it work that time around. Still prefer him on the Thors and the Nemesis and some of his other historic picks, but the Wukong, it works, so can't complain.
You could mess it up there. That Warrior front line, even when they lost all their backline damage, immediately still brought that team fight back. Great showing there from Hype Unit. We're going to throw you guys to a quick break. We'll be back with Game 2.
INAM, powering the control room for the SMITE Console League.
Welcome back, console fans. My name is Pretty here, and I was your guide for Game 1. I'm going to be your guide for Game number 2 here. I'm joined, of course, by Aggro to bring you down the home stretch here between Hype Unit and what was her name?
Fatal Ambition.
Fatal Ambition.
That's
Hopefully
right.
they can be a bit more fatal here, as Game 1 was all Hype Unit, but not in quite the dominant, disrespectful fashion that Rival were able to find. Kind of a slow bleed until finally cracking open a decent-sized team fight around a Gold Fury.
Exactly, and it was right around that Gold Fury where they broke the game from a 4K lead to a 6K lead, and that's on the side of the map where Crimson was and Not a Pen was. Not a Pen, much less of a factor than
Right.
Crimson that game. Like I said before, I think if Fatal Ambition can find a better pick for Not a Pen, they've got a much better chance.
Well, AMC is going to take a seat first again here, so there's a couple of bans I think that I've just learned that we see no matter what.
Pretty much.
Team to team, right? You have your comfort picks, you have stuff you just don't want to get them on. Don Kui has been banned out pretty much every game today as well, and I imagine that's going to stay the same. You've got so many stats here to feast your eyes on.
That's right.
You barely even need me here to guide you through it.
86% ban rate
Look at
for
that.
Jean Kui across all of Xbox NA. 50% ban rate against Hype Unit for Odin, and we kind of saw why with how well Wolves played it in that last game. There's just so many bans these days, man. I mean, you've got 6 bans at the very beginning before any picks happen.
Yeah.
It's very hard to...
Some characters you just ain't seeing.
You're just not seeing. I mean, you're just not going to see Set, and you're probably not going to see Isis or AMC or anything like that. AMC did receive a pretty big nerf with this patch. A little surprised to see him banned. Maybe Fatal Ambition just haven't practiced with it or against it to see if it still has that same level of potency.
Need some time to develop new strategies around new things. For now, the game plan remains the same around AMC. Odin, Wolves did it to him in game number 1. Not going to see that one come through yet again. Hercules will stay seated as well. Well, as Ice is the final ban for the first phase here. Morrigan will be first picked. Whatever god you end up picking, they've got it.
Yeah, it's not a...
I don't hate that as an underdog.
No, me neither. I mean, the Morrigan, you could put her a bunch of different places. She can play mid. I think she's great right now in that long lane. She's so good at 1v1ing because you use your abilities. You know, you close that gap, you get in, you stun, you 2, and then you press Y and you transform, and you got a whole new set of abilities that's going to proc your 2 damage. I think it's very good. Problem is, you just gave Layers Thor, probably his best god. You gave Wolves Jormungandr, one of his best gods. And that's the problem playing against Hype Unit. You feel like you can't really do, even with that many bans, you feel like you have to give up too much.
Great lore synergy, I think, between the two as well. You got to love that.
For sure.
They have the ability.
On opposite sides, they kill each other, but, you know, whatever. It's fine. Now they're on the same team.
Imagine if they didn't have to fight each other.
Yeah,
right?
they'd
That's
be
a lot of
nutty.
power coming at you into the backline. Anvil of Dawn. And Wukong. This was very effective for Hype Unit in game number 1. Very often up into that cloud and one of the top damage dealers in the game. That warrior frontline, super, super potent. The Guardian of Time, though, himself, Mr. Geb, knockups, big stuns, obviously shields, some of the best peel, I think, in Smite.
No doubt about that. Wukong is just one of those picks. I feel like Fatal Ambition kind of fall into the trap that a lot of teams do in saying, hey, that worked really well, that was pretty good, we'll do the same thing. And you probably won't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's comp dependent, it's player dependent. Fatal Ambition, if this Wukong is in the jungle for JPrro, I am immediately concerned. Even with Layers popping off last game, he's the only one that I'm still comfortable saying it could work for Wukong jungle. JPrro probably wants to stick to something a little bit more traditional, just because I really felt like the Wukong was enabled by the composition and by how proficient Layers is on the character.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, one of the things, it's like when there's 3 warriors there, it's like, God, which one do I attack? I just don't want to attack any of them, right? If there's just one, it's kind of a different story, right?
No doubt.
Triple warrior front line was really quite something, and Geb, I think, just overall is going to have a hard time keeping up with Wukong. That was something that was not a problem in that other game. Odin's leaping around like a maniac. You've got Horus with that long-range dash. There was always that tightly packed little pod of frontliners for Hype Unit, so the composition playing a big factor, I think, into how effective that triple warrior frontline could be.
I wonder if this is going to be Susano ADC right here. This is one of the assassins that Herwin pulled out when playing this kind of long lane assassin style.
Yeah.
It slaughters Morrigan. I mean, Morrigan just has such a tough time into this matchup. AoE damage, it's basically unmissable. You reveal her very easily. You can displace her, which she really struggles against. And you've already got the Thor there for Layers. Maybe it could be something like Thor support for Inbound. Hype Unit, a very creative team. Maybe to a fault sometimes. I think I like the idea, though, of putting Thor jungle, Yorm solo, Susano ADC, and then taking something here different for Inbound.
Well, last selection here now. Only one Guardian band out for the side of Fatal Ambition. They'll grab another warrior. Jormungandr and Guan, you likely to be holding down the front line. And again, with just so much aggression, the Horus, Susano diving into the back line. You've got Thor's Anvil of Dawn. You've got so much just to go together and stay together. Hype Unit, they could hit the gas pedal at any moment, man.
I feel like it's going to be Thor support, Guan Yu jungle. Layers brought Guan Yu jungle like into the meta for all of SPL and SML and SCL at the Midseason Invitational.
Nice.
He played really, really well on it. It really turned a lot of junglers onto this pick. I'd be kind of surprised if they took it out of his hands. As we get into game 2, we will find out. It is going to be Inbound on it, though. A little bit more traditional. I actually think that it might be better with Layers on the Guan and the Thor support. Either one, you still kind of bring the same thing. Incredible backline dive. Put your preemptive Fs in the chat for Soul Reaper and not a pen this game, because how do you ever get away from Anvil of Dawn and World Serpent and Cavalry Charge? You do not.
Tough stuff here, not a pen. That long lane needs to be one of the bastions of hope for Fatal Ambition. He's already got a Guan Yu waiting in the wings. Inbound is going to come around the corner here early. Aggression. Auto attack canceled into the dash here, forcing the beads. Not a very long cooldown dash, though, so Inbound is going to keep up the chase here. Healing potion ticking away, I can tell, because of the health bar. Another dash lands.
Big brain.
Swing, swing, swing. Able to keep up here. Big damage on that last swing, though. Finally calling it off, but not before ErupT Crimson gets that first wave completely uncontested.
Purple buff looking likely. Shockwave is great secure, but
Wow.
Fallen still not managing to grab that one. I love this start from Hype Unit. Inbound, so much of the support
wow,
these
you really
days just axe the buff. Make sure you can get it. Soul Reaper's got to make sure he's got that jump ready to go if this fight continues.
Well, Layers is going to pound away at Mercury here, who already burned his dash to try and get over to Inbound. Oboronic teleported in. Isn't able to get that double clap there, but so low. You got to say the HP trade much in favor of Hype Unit after that skirmishing in the jungle.
And Crimson gets a huge lead over there. It won't materialize right now, but come level 4, level 5, he's going to get his ultimate first over Not a Pen without a doubt.
That's the stuff that makes me so mad about Smite, though. It's like, if I am Not a Pen in that situation, it's just like, well, that's it for me, boys. Like, I just get so mad if I get, like, a buff stolen and then that's it.
Nothing, your team just isn't there to kind of punish
I feel for you.
the
I
opposition.
feel for you, Pen.
He's got to play safe, man. No beads for 75. Should be up in time for Crimson to have his ultimate, but if it isn't, that might be an easy first blood for Hype Unit.
Wolves and Pitbull going back at it here. Barely even, but these solo laners. Not a ton of damage in the early game and a lot of tankiness in the early game, so even though they're both below half, it'll be fine here to continue to whack away at each other. Totem of Ku under contest now as well. Is Inbound. Still level 1, but has returned. Just to show a presence here, get a little bit of damage off. I wonder when she's going to notice here. Here's the dash, gets the slow here. Crimson pulls her right back into harm's way. Yep. And with Inbound taking the majority of the minion wave, I mean, that lead is going to be colossal for Crimson now.
Now Pen is in a ton of trouble. So is Pitbull. Knockup coming. Wolves very comfortable on this low HP. No problem whatsoever. Had that under wraps from minute 1.
That's the nuance right there. It's just he just knows exactly how much damage is left out on the battlefield for him to take.
Yep.
Quick look at the HP. I got enough, and then just goes back at it. I was getting scared for him there, but MOR Wolves plenty calculated at that moment. Pitbull already back though. Here to get his blue buff here. Wolves just too low to contest this one.
Even if Wolves dies in that spot, he's willing to take that trade because it's a 1-for-1 where he gets an assist or Layers gets an assist and the other one gets the kill. And in worst case scenario, Pitbull just gets a kill. So it's just more global gold. I mean, the math just adds up in Hype Unit's favor. And that's why Wolves is willing to play so aggressively, even if it weren't going to go his way. It did.
No wards here, spotting out Inbound's third attempt at the long lane. Not a Pen safely under his tower at this juncture, though. Those two will just head off to purple buff together to grab it. One mid-camp Harpy still up. Shockwave and an auto from Ullr will secure that as we head almost to 4 minutes here on the clock. 2 kills for Hype Unit. Kind of the same story. Hype Unit had a pretty quick start out of the gate last time around. It wasn't a decisive win until around, what, 15, 16 minutes-ish where that Gold Fury went down off the back of a 3-for-1.
And that's Hype Unit style these days. They play aggressively in the early game, but probably need to do a little bit of a better job in this set of invading some early buffs. I mean, you just want to play around Crimson as early as possible on this Susano. He's gone them with the Mage's Blessing. It's all about this all-in. I mean, he's not going to out-clear Not a Pen. He's really just there for the ability to ignore the wave and try and one-shot.
Not a Pen, not like again this. Here. There it is. Tropical Storm rips through and grabs the first kill. I should say the third kill there in that lane. And up, down from Layers. He's not able to find a target. The ultimate, or with the stun. Mercury's going to charge up his ultimate to counter it out. Inbound has just been all over this long lane, man. Ganking this Morrigan time and time again. Always looking for this purple buff off timer. And I think it's called out for mid lane that he's got some reinforcements coming. As you can see, Guan Yu, even before those targets hit the wards, he's already way out of there.
Especially with Oboronic and Layers having their ultimates on cooldown. They tried to execute the Wombo combo in the mid lane. Love the idea. Always fine with a mid laner using their ultimate, assuming that the CC is going to be there, or vice versa. You know, someone like a support or a jungler trying to use their ultimate off of a mid laner CC. Much rather have both of you miss and attempt the high the high execution play and just have it not go your way than not trust your teammates. That's much more important.
Pitbull could be in trouble here again. Has the ultimate up. Right up into the cloud, a little bit of HP regen for him. Blue buff is up. Seems like the next target. He's looking there. That's where he'll end up. Finally, some help from the support, though, just to bail Notapen out from this aggression. Inbound trying to get back to base here. Quite able to. Scared off by Geb for the time being. Purple buff about to come up for Hype Unit. They've got the people there to contest him. My goodness. Crimson is doing so much damage. That buff just disappeared.
Already Mage's Blessing nearly stacked. I mean, Transcendence should be pretty close behind in that lane. I love that what he's doing is pulling the wave back towards his tower. This means that the next wave is more likely to meet close to his tower, which means that Notapen is going to have to move up as Soul Reaper jumps in.
Yeah, everybody else looked like they were on their way out of that one.
Soul Reaper decides he wants to fight, and as Ullr, you kind of have to. I mean, you're not picking Ullr to wait until 30 minutes to make your impact. I like the idea of Soul Reaper being like, hey, we got to push the pressure if we've got a 3-on-2. Problem is, Oboronic is on Janus, Layers is on Thor. Those two characters fairly mobile and get out of danger pretty quickly.
Notapen returning to lane here. Ward's starting to be dropped. Looks like a Ward Chalice actually picked up for Inbound. A lot of vision, and vision is something that has certainly hurt Notapen by not having that. He's been very susceptible to that gank. More ganking over there in the long lane than I've seen at any point today. A lot of CC chaining happening there. Pitbull couldn't even gotten up into the cloud. I don't think if he had it. He got vaporized there by Fire Giant.
Perfect play between Layers and Wolves. Those two have some of the best energy in the entire console league. They work so well together.
Thor, I mean the lore center.
Hey, yeah, I mean it's already there. It's built in. Inbound drops the ultimate. Fallen uses his as well as Oboronic drops his ultimate for his beads rather. Crimson's here, by the way.
Out of nowhere, 277 damage at 7 minutes on a Geb. I mean, big damage onto the Guardian. Couldn't get that portal there. JPrro looks like he's going to be able to get out without needing to spend. Sonic Boom. And Inbound is still in pursuit. JPro's pretty well aware of it, though. Crimson picks up yet another kill on a Soul Reaper. That one is going to cost a lot for Fatal Ambition. Plenty of jungle up to steal as well. Notapen is nearby. I think he transformed into Wukong. I heard somebody crashing down from the cloud.
Yep, that's exactly right, and has to expend that ultimate. That means that he's just dead whenever Crimson wants him to be, as soon as he has that ultimate back and available. This is the cyclical nature of a meta, and the way that Smite, when you boil it down, when it comes to fighting, is really a rock, paper, scissors game. It's Hunters and Mages do a very good job of killing Guardians. Guardians do a very good job of corralling Assassins, and Assassins do a very good job of killing those Hunters and Mages. So if it's all Mages in particular over here in the long lane, and we're getting all this farm, and we're left alone to a 1v1, why am I just picking a fair fight? Why don't I just go for the big, flashy, I 1v1 you as often as possible pick in Susano or Camazotz? We saw Anister play for SSG over there. I think it makes a ton of sense, and it's going to be up to a team to make that next adjustment. What can we do? We probably just camp that assassin. We put them behind, something along those lines. But that's what makes MOBAs so fun, and that without any sort of big changes to the map or anything like that, we're seeing a whole new class come over and start to try their hand at this role because it counters what other teams are doing.
Been a fun thing to watch, and I think Paladins has taken a similar step in slowing down a little bit and balance changing, letting the players sort of figure out and define a lot of the metas. Of course, it's still fun to get some map changes, get some some forced jumbling up here. Sonic Boom rips through, finds Inbound, big CC chain, a lot dumped into Bobby. Start of this fight, he's going to juke out a decent amount into the portal from through space and time. And just to get himself out of that. A lot of damage from the Lightning Post, Anvil of Dawn. Double tap's good on a JPrro, but still no kills for either side. To the back line goes Pitbull, Master's Will for the slow. A couple more auto attacks, Jingle Bang up over the top. Doesn't have the cooldowns to dive the tier 1, but he's happy to get the 1 for nothing.
Watch out, here comes Wolves, and Crimson cleans it up. Yeah, this guy's not even safe. Oboronic even takes a couple tower shots just to be sure that he's out, as Bobby perfectly timed, but Notapen has a transformation, and Inbound pops.
A lot of damage there from fake Master's Will.
It's the Dark Omen.
Oh, is that what that was? I was
yeah.
gonna say that was way too much damage.
Yep.
From Master's Will alone.
Nice move.
Something I'm a little unaware of there. Not a pen. Cannot find the stun. In
Perfect.
and out. Like he wasn't even there. Like a ghost.
Susano's so cool, man.
He really is.
That is sweet. The ability to use your kit in different ways and not just go with the exact same thing every time.
Yeah.
There, it's the first hit of Storm Kata into the Wind Siphons, then finish off with the Storm Kata. That's the kind of stuff I love to see in these complex kits, and Crimson certainly making use of every little bit of it. 5-0-1, top of the net worth charts. He's up 1,400 gold by himself over his lane.
Oh, Gold Fury is going to be started up here by Fatal Ambition. They have Mercury and Ullr on it, so it is going to be falling pretty fast considering it's only 11 minutes into the game here, and they are starting to fall further and further behind. Nobody even with an earshot of this one. Fatal Ambition grabbed the Gold Fury for free. Oracle's about to come up, but largely unconcerned, it seems, as the full disengage called.
Good window of opportunity by Fatal Ambition. Oboronic spent a little bit too much time hanging around after that team fight got picked off. Not a pen is maybe, yeah, he's dead, and so is JPrro, by the way.
Oh!
This is why you don't gank the long lane, dude. It's worthless to you. He got one tapped, as Soul Reaper will, as he gets barrel stuffed by Oboronic in the mid lane.
Wow, and Layers has the option to take this portal. He will to the back line.
Here comes
just worming his way. Soul Reaper just too juicy a target. Gab trying to get in there to provide peel, but instead provides something more to eat for Crimson as he moves ahead to 8-0 in under 12 minutes of play.
Is that good? I know you're kind of new to this smite casting thing, but I'd like you to go out on a limb.
Almost a kill a minute seems pretty tough. I mean, by my standards,
not good enough.
I would have been looking for 12 in 12 minutes. All 12 of these kills should have been yours.
Right.
You got the early gank. I mean, you're being invested in. I need my dividends, Crimson.
It's not the growth portfolio we expected, but it's still okay. You know, it's still not going too badly for him. That's for sure. Working into what's probably going to be either a Crusher or Jotun's Wrath, help with that one-shot potential. He can 2v1 right now. Really the only one who can handle him is Pitbull. Yeah, he just did. He can do it from a full HP, knowing you're coming sort of option. Yeah, not a pen. No. It is good for you that Crimson backed up.
I was going to say,
he helped
popped
you.
out of stuff, it looks like, oh, you're here, cool. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Oh, I just use all my abilities to clear the wave, but I will kill you with auto attacks alone. Not a pen has ult now, so he can transform into Crimson and use the lead that he's gifted him against him. Maybe that's the plan.
You can never beat Morrigan.
That's right. She's always got a game plan.
Always going to be at least on even footing with you. We had north of 13 minutes now. Some back camps respawning, and they will be contested. JPro's got the Sonic Boom. Up into the wall goes Thor. About 300 damage worth of auto attacks into the Cataclysm. Hammer of Dawn. Anvil of Dawn response here. Plenty of targets to land on. It's just a matter of who finds two. Hype unit engaging in the fullest sense of the word into the Jormungandr ultimate. One more absolutely collapsing on. For the tune of 230 in damage. It's going to be enough to take down Layers as Wolves continues to wiggle and worm his way back into this team fight, looking for Morris. He's still very healthy.
Oboronic got to come back towards Wolves. Portals himself, but Pitbull has that somersault. Cloud jukes out the ult from JPrro, and Pitbull waits too long. Now he's going to let Oboronic off the hook.
There it is. Nothing gained for it. My goodness, the damage from the Typhoon. It's a lot, but Crimson still realizing he can't chase down the fastest god in the game.
Fastest god alive right there, especially with Talaria and the stone cutting. That's two additional movement speed items. Wise by Crimson to give up that chase. Still a good attempt. Certainly forced them off.
And Susano's the guy I would have expected to catch him. I guess I don't know what cooldowns he had available right after that Typhoon, but
certainly can close a lot of gaps. That's for sure. But when it comes to just outright moving the feet, Mercury's got him beat.
13-4 as hype units start to turn this lead into something really tangible now. 3,000 gold. Gold Fury's going to be respawning in just over a minute. Doesn't look like they're very concerned with that. Hype unit want this engagement. Oboronic quick portal himself out. Going to need to expend his ultimate, try to get the turn and burn as he departed the fight, but bit off a bit more than he could chew. Soul Reaper makes him pay. Looks like it's just going to be a clean one for nothing, and That's what you love to see, especially when you're down this much. Those are the gifts that are going to get you back in the game.
100%. Keeps Oboronic off the map is the big thing. Soul Reaper gets a bunch of golden experience for that, and just time where he can farm where Oboronic can't.
Pitbull's not done here, even though he just expended the mobility cooldown. More than happy to fight after this blue buff, but it still looks like it goes the way of Wolves. Inbound, slicing and dicing. Ooh, a rock, don't know how effective that's going to be. Little prot shred, but I'm sure Gev's able to shrug that one off. Big grouping here around the Gold Fury, as it is going to be up in just about 30 seconds. Not a pen, maybe looking for the engage on a would-be rotating Crimson, but he was still safely tucked by his tower.
Crimson in an blink for about 5 seconds, but otherwise has everything available. It's a great fight to be taking. Soul Reaper gets out of range of that Typhoon, but not out of all this dive. Big Sonic Boom, though, from JPrro might be enough.
Didn't even need a lick of that CC either. Beads basically negated everything. The damage was just enough. Here's not a pen, though, coming in with all that farm. Crimson works so hard to get, but just the slicing, the dicing. He's an absolute madman. He's huge, he's fed, he's big, he's a beast, and he's ripping this team fight apart. That's 3 for 1 in favor of Hype Unit. Pitbull's here to contest, and there's probably nobody you'd want in a 1v5 other than your warrior, but even he looks to back off here as Hype Unit start up the Gold Fury.
It's a cute attempt, not a pen, but let me show you how it's really done. That's how I've gotten 10 kills, says Crimson. 10-0 and 3 for him as Pitbull blinks in, trying to stop Hype Unit from doing something they didn't seem to want to do a whole lot anyways.
Pitbull's just so tanky. Crimson and the boys a little bit still gassed from that previous team fight. Pitbull's going to spend 72 transformations to get out. So Gold Fury's not lost. So yeah, you lose 3 for 1 there, Fatal Ambition, but it could have been worse.
Blue buff nearly stolen by Oboronic, but took half of Soul Reaper's HP for good measure on the way out. The same build that we saw last game from Fatal Ambition, this big CDR spike for Oboronic with the Soul Gem. Big burst as well when you get that Soul Gem proc, but you can see the shortcomings of that build. Had to back just simply because he was out of mana.
Mercury Ullr, the first Gold Fury of the game, despite being down, did go to Fatal Ambition. They're going to start up Primal Fury here, not a pen. And the boys look like they might be able to get this one scot-free. Doesn't look like any vision around either. Primal Fury goes down again to Fatal Ambition. They continue to close this lead. Now it's only a 2K game.
Yeah, that one's on Inbound and layers. They're kind of walking around together, clearing purple buff. At least one of you needs to be checking a Fury at this point in the game where you know they've got pretty decent damage, even when behind in XP. No vision on it. You got to assume they could be on it, and no one checks it. With Oboronic having ult, layers having ult, if Inbound just walks in and says, yo, they're on it, and it's 30%, then Hype Unit have a chance to 3-for-0 them on that objective, even if they don't get the objective itself.
Hype Unit still carrying a heavy presence around the map. Tier 1 goes down without much of a fight. Red buff comes up. Looks like this skirmish turn into a full-blown team fight as all the boys are being brought to the yard here. Wolves in from the back. Ends the tremble on a Pitbull, who still has the cloud, so you can tell he's not super worried about the damage he's taking, but still value gotten. It's still gas expended here. Red buff does go to Hype Unit. As the engage now looks like it's going to come out onto Geb. The front line not really looking worse for wear here as the engage has come out in spades. Anvil of Dawn grabs the kill up into the cloud. Sonic Boom comes ripping in, but there's not a whole lot to swing at here. There's the Typhoon as well from the backside of the fight. Ullr going to chase down what looks like to be an actual comeback here, and it's a double kill for Not a Pen.
What do you know? Piloting Crimson's pick of this Susano ends up Hype Unit all in this little choke point, and they walk right into Not a Pen's ultimate. Perfectly played by him. I mean, Wolves no ultimate here. He's almost certainly dead. There's no way to get away from all this physical damage.
Hide behind that back camp for a little while. 72 stuns comes out. On the 2, he's just going to fight his way out of this one. No teammates anywhere nearby. Geb Shield ensures that Soul Reaper can fight with confidence. And Fatal Ambition have just taken the lead 19 minutes into the game.
That is crazy, man. I mean, even despite this huge lead for Crimson, that's kind of where leads like this can bite you. You feel like your whole team's ahead, but it's really just that one dude is huge. And as soon as that dude gets taken out of the fight, whether it be a kill or forced out by damage, if Crimson's not a part of the fight, Hype Unit wasn't that ahead. And then once he goes down, they truly aren't that ahead. Now, Crimson's still huge. He's got a Hydras. He's level 18. He'll still 1v1 anyone on Fatal Ambition, but he definitely can't 2v1. These Typhoons have been a little bit suspect now and out of the laning phase. These team fighting Typhoons haven't been great. I think we got to see a little more out of that. Hype Unit can be okay. They have to realize their positioning, and it's not that they're way far ahead, it's that they're actually a little bit behind.
That looked like it was going to be good for such a long time there for Hype Unit. They got the early pressure out on a Wukong. Their most fed member had just finished what I imagine to be a pretty big power spike item in Hydras. That was that was a crisp moment to take that team fight, man. But again, Morrigan, first picked here for Fatal Ambition. Really kind of put in the dumpster early on for some early ganks from Inbound, but she has been the way out of all of this trouble and has led to this now almost or over 1,000 gold lead for Fatal Ambition. You got to hand it to these guys. A lot of resolve to keep their heads down, keep grinding, keep taking the gifts that Hype Unit were going to be prepared to give them, and they have just now found their way back in.
And this is where you got to have that veteran leader on your team for Hype Unit. And really, any of these guys can fit that mold at this point in their careers to say, hey, all right, had our fun, time to slow it down a little bit, let's refocus. Not that they weren't focused in or taking it seriously or anything, but you got your lead, you're up 1-0 in a set. You're going to play with a little bit more swagger than might be necessary as Crimson nearly gets one-tapped by that great combo.
Wow, big shield on a Susano. Is it enough to bail him out of this fight? Into the tower goes Pitbull as he just takes down the most valuable member of Hype Unit. Wolves and the boys trying to bring this one back, but with still Pitbull zoning out so many members, not taking a lot of damage either. This looks like it is a clean 1-0, and the most valuable, again, player going down for Hype Unit. Now they might lose their support. I think Thor had to go up just to deter any further aggression, landing onto the enemy support. But Notapen comes back with a vengeance. Crimson didn't get to really swing much in that fight, but Morrigan's going to get the chance to use all that items, all those gold, all of that damage into MOR Wolves as he falls down as well.
Sick Aegis there by Notapen to prevent getting flattened by Boronic's ultimate that did force Fallen back. This needs to be where Fatal Ambition don't let their lead. They're starting to play with some momentum. They've got a 3K gold lead now. Got to keep calm.
Coming up.
Got to understand what the situation is. I think pulling gold is a little bit ambitious for this squad. They're a little bit too low on resources, on HP. Let's head back to base. Keep JPrro around. He's full health. Still has Aegis up. He can make sure that Hype Unit don't just do the Oni Fury right in front of us. That's a great fight with great target prioritization. A sick ultimate from JPrro right onto the target you need. And Crimson's gone blink. No Aegis. So if we can close that gap, we can get on top of him, it's going to be hard for him to get away.
In terms of XP and items, I mean, Notapen, he's basically caught back up to Crimson. This is tough stuff. And you look at the 4-4-6 slash line versus the 10-2-4 slash line for Crimson. Where did it all go so wrong? This Morrigan pretty much one-tapping Crimson. The tables have officially turned. Typhoon goes out, does a lot of damage. Notapen probably going to lose his life, but he goes down swinging. Veronic comes ripping through the wall and just pukes damage back into Fatal Ambition, killing 2 instantly. I don't know if Fallen is going to make it out of this one. Inbound can't get in there. Nice portal and double tap as well from the unstable Vortex. Huge damage from Veronic. He basically, I think, saves that team fight from being an absolute catastrophe.
Inbound goes the wrong way, runs away from the boys, but Pitbull's going to have to use the ultimate. Inbound.
Nice.
Perfect portal there from Veronic, just in case. That means Pitbull's going to disengage if he can. Seems like he'll be able to do so. Oni Fury started by JPrro, but you're right on the money, Nick. Save that fight by Veronic. Layers has the ultimate, but
can they hear that?
They either heard it or he was on a ward, or they're really looking for it. He might have been at max range, but certainly have their head in the game, understand what the possibilities are for Hype Unit, and play it accordingly.
Well, the big story here is that there's not a really big lead either way. Fatal Ambition were down so heavily. They managed to claw their way back out of hell, and it really only took them about 6 minutes there to completely turn this game around from a 3,000 gold deficit, now about a 2,000 gold lead. They were even further ahead than Hype Unit had been at any point in this game. A pretty good team fight there, saved by Veronic. Keeps them in there still. Lots of big objectives, lots of towers still on the map. This game can go either way.
Crimson spent the last 2 fights dead instantly, right off the front end. He needs to be further back, playing like an assassin. It's a different play style for him than what he's used to. Used to be a mid laner, now playing ADC. Got to get used to all these different play styles. It's a hard task for sure, but he's been in the front line each of these last 2 fights. Has to play very patiently now.
You got to get that wake-up call too, especially when you're just Swiss cheesing everybody in the game. You got to realize, okay, slowing down a little bit here. Got to start using my brain again, and I can't just walk through anybody that I want. Or Crimson again. Early big damage, instant transformation. Notapen wants to dump not only all of his damage, but Crimson's damage into him as well. Typhoon doesn't actually connect, I don't think, on the Bobby. Anvil of Dawn up. Doesn't have the range to get to Notapen. But Layers is doing a great job there. Nice double stun, double tap.
That's nasty.
Triple spin as well as Jormungandr comes up over the top here. Nobody dead just yet, but the early health trades going far in favor of Hype Unit.
Pitbull very isolated. Still has his ultimate and blink. So he should be okay. Getting a little greedy holding on to that ult, but greed is good. And he ends up holding on to it despite getting low. Certainly should not be going to try and contest this Oni Fury, however.
I think everybody realizing this one's probably gone for Fatal Ambition. They look like they're already headed towards Pyro. It's like the natural trade, but just his presence alone, I think it's enough. What do you see?
They're trying to, Pitbull's trying to bait them there so that Fatal Ambition could go for fire, but with Hype Unit showing up, they're going to have to give up that dream and instead try and take the fight.
Sonic Boom was charged, doesn't come out. Inbound is chasing down this Mercury far on the right-hand side. Crimson will finish the chase. Early kill on to JPrro. Now the Geb support a little bit caught out here. His inbound is just all over. He's done a great job at just being in people's faces non-stop, forcing them to constantly make the call of, am I getting in or am I getting out here? Soul Reaper takes a nice parting gift as well. All this HP trade, no objectives needed. Hype Unit are just going to bully the Tier 2 down.
Finally, the lead goes back in their favor as well with that Tier 2 tower. It's been a back-and-forth game. This one has been a lot of fun to watch, and it's really just, for me, going to come down to how well can Crimson play the role of assassin. These last 3 fights that were big team fights, he ends up getting focused out early. Not enough ward vision from Hype Unit, not enough understanding of, or really itemization around this Morrigan. No on Chile or something like that for Crimson that could really help him out. Maybe that's where he'll go. Looks like it's going to be a Magi's, same idea.
Ullr.
Stopping that full one-shot combo from the Morrigan.
Ullr swinging for the fences here on the Oni Fury, and it looks like he is going to be able to grab that one utterly for free. Anvil of Dawn goes up, but nothing more than a reconnaissance mission at this point. Dunking right back down onto the red buff. Basically taking back the lead. It's pocket change at this point, though. Players finishing up, or getting close to finishing up some of these item builds. That gold lead is going to start to matter less and less as that final item slot is filled out.
Pitbull's gone pretty offensive with the build now, finishing it off with a Brawler's Beatstick and a Runeforged Hammer. Not a lot of anti-heal right now for Fatal Ambition. Really, it's just in the form of this Brawler's Beatstick for Pitbull. Probably around enough. Maybe you want a Divine Ruin somewhere else. And by somewhere else, I mean it would only be for Notapen. Maybe you can sell your boots for it in a little bit once you get that Elixir of Speed ready to go. But at this point, Inbound is going to be dealing a pretty healthy amount of healing in these engagements.
That healing, frankly, these HP trades have been going the way of Hype Unit. You let that healing get off the leash, it's going to be a big problem for you. Small skirmish brewing here. Solo side, nobody engaging too heavily onto the Fire Giant. Morrigan looking for the Tier 1 in the long lane. Inbound is going to be there to snuff her out. Not a lot of mobility. And the transformation into Susano will be enough to deter the 2v1 gank.
2 ults in
Just
exchange
enough damage,
for,
I think, to
yeah, exactly. I mean,
scare him off.
Oboronic had already used the Through Space and Time and the Unstable Vortex as Pitbull takes an awful lot of damage. Crimson really exploiting that lack of defense with this Runeforged and Brawlers build. The Titan's Bane and Crusher combo from Crimson's enough to shoot through basically all of those protections and still leave him with a lot of damage left over from the Transcendence and the Hydras. Crimson now with that Magi's bubble is able to 1v1 anybody. Again, maybe not JPrro, depending on how well he rolls on those crits.
Well, getting away with one there over on the long lane side. It looks like Fire Giant might be started up here by Hype Unit. Everyone's here. course, their opposition is nearby, knocking on the door as well. Geb will be the first one, I imagine, to breach the pit. Crimson is actually out on zone duty and does maintain his bubble even through the knockup. As the contest starts to brew here, Fire Giant is leashed at about half HP. Crimson taking a lot of early damage, loses his bubble. And again, the story continues of he's just not been able to be a part of this fight, but a free one from Wolves as he can now surge through the rest of this team fight without Morrigan to worry about. And Crimson, without himself to worry about via Changeling, he can move with some confidence finally.
Great body block by Inbound on uFallen as he tried to roll through that team fight. Fallen will do just that. Inbound with his third kill of the game. And Reaper, get on back here. Crimson wants a little bit more.
I think that might be it for now. The stun through the wall, but Ayers doesn't want any more off the back of it. They'll take the clean 3-0. A couple of low members will head back to base, as I imagine the Fire Giant is where they will set their sights on next. Enhanced Fire Giant, as we have just passed 30 minutes.
Perfect timing for that team fight to occur. This is looking like a great position for Hype Unit now, and really Not a Pen has made so many plays in this game, has played so much better. I mean, he was a non-factor in game 1, has played so well. A big reason why Fatal Ambition was in this game at all.
Yeah.
But you just can't get 1v1 by a solo laner when you have Aegis up at 30 minutes. I mean, that's just a cardinal sin for a carry player. Ends up not being able to get away, doesn't get the peel that he needs, doesn't use the relics appropriately, and Hype Unit are taking a true 5-on-4 without Wolves expending anything. He had the ultimate after the fact and was just able to make it work.
And the toughest part about that is it was going so well for Fatal Ambition up until that point. Crimson was basically forced out, lost his bubble, lost half of his health.
Yep.
That could have been such a good fight. And Not a Pen being such a big key to it. Sticking around a little bit longer would have been good. 5 members strong with the Fire Giant, though. Got to play the game in front of you. Fatal Ambition have done a good job of staying in this one. They were down pretty big, pretty early. They kept their heads down, kept making smart plays, found themselves back in the lead up until just recently. So if they've done it once before, frankly twice before, they can do it again.
Especially with Crimson, no beads for about 30 seconds, though he has that Magi's bubble, no Aegis for layers. That's what you're keeping track of as a player at this point, is relic timers. Is there anyone we can one-tap? Is there anyone that if Not a Pen is able to close that gap and find the stun, can we one-shot anybody off of it? Layer's certainly a candidate, and that's where Not a Pen is in mid.
Look for the kill there. Sonic Boom from downtown. The stun it looked a little panicked, right? It misses a little bit off to the side there. Layers goes down for free. Does that force the engage over here on the Phoenix? Looks like it might start something, but I think it's Fatal Ambition that are wanting to take this fight. Wolves heads to the back line, knocks up 3, gets off as much damage as he possibly can. ErupT Crimson evaporates 1, barely up into the cloud. Saves his life, but ultimately Pitbull will decide to disengage.
Blink in by Inbound. No way he hits this, but OBoronic's got it on lock.
No.
Of course he does. 25 now on the clock for Hype Unit. And Pitbull so close, yet so far.
Oh, vaporized, man. And just back and forth. The Sonic Boom from extreme range was good. Seeing that through time and space was great as well. The first Phoenix of the game will fall. Middle lane and right lane still up and available if Hype Unit want to continue to get aggressive here, but as Bound just passes on through, they're either going to wait for the wave here and then make their choice.
Not a Pen's up in 15, has no relics when he spawns, no ultimate either, but that ult might be up by the time he's ready to go. Wolves ready to go right now. Gonna just use this ultimate. Look at how much space it creates. I mean, it opens up that entire Phoenix, and he just heads right back over once it's done.
Like it never even happened. All 3 Phoenixes falling like dominoes here as Hype Unit move from left to right. Might be meeting a little bit of contest here in the last one. Blink Cataclysm is good for the engage here, but Wolves immediately knocks up 2, spits down onto 1. So much damage coming out from Crimson as he moves through the back of this team fight. Typhoon is a parting gift. It's not enough to grab the kill. Huge shield there as well. Crimson is able to just skirt out of this one for the time being. Finally ends up going down here. It's not a clean engagement. It's not a clean win. But ultimately getting 2 Phoenixes before leaving feels pretty good for Hype Unit.
Big axe there, but JPrro smacks right up against the wall. Doesn't find Inbound, but Pitbull just might. Doesn't find him with a Jingu Bang, and Inbound's actually going to get re-engaged so he can find heals onto Wolves.
Uh-oh, Mercury late game starting to swing away here. I think Layers realizes the gravity of the situation. Disengages, maybe waiting for the hammer before dashing in onto this Thor, but Thor's not going to give it to him, just continues to run away with that speed buff.
Man, Wolves is such a sick player. It seems like such a little thing, and to the inexperienced eye, you probably look at that big Blink Cataclysm from Fallen, and you go, oh, there just wasn't enough follow-up. There was, it's just that Wolves single-handedly took all of it on the chin by himself, finds a double knock-up to prevent any sort of follow-up onto Oboronic and Crimson, who had gotten double Blink Cataclysm, which is usually a death sentence in one of these fights. But Wolves ends up saving that engagement, at least extending the engagement. Still ends up going Fatal Ambition's way, but could have been a much cleaner one if not for Wolves' play.
Fatal Ambition proving to be a tough nut to crack here for the world champions. Hype Unit have a 5,000 gold lead, but at 35 minutes with most of these builds basically completely finished off. Players just selling cheaper items like Glad Shields and starter items, it looks like, to finish off with some more luxury stuff. So the gold lead not really a talking point anymore. Fire Giant's up in less than 30 seconds. It's going to come down to these final objectives. Fatal Ambition do not have a lot of room left to give. They have one Phoenix that's already at about 60% HP. And then it's the Titan, the last bastion of hope.
Oboronic is going to stay so far back this fight. No relics for him for quite some time. Wolves going to be the focus. Has to get that ult off, and he does.
There it is. Damage immunity for a little while longer. Up, down onto one. Up, down onto two. Looks for the support for the third, but if nothing else, forces him back into the loving arms of the rest of Hype Unit. Wolves looks like he's going to get out safely here. Inbound continuing just his dominant zoning performance. He's always in somebody's face, making their day a lot harder than it would have been otherwise. There it is, the clean 2 picks there. Feels like a choice between Fire Giant or just trying to end the game here. Hype Unit dancing around the pit. Sonic Boom is still a threat, but it looks like Fire Giant will still be the choice.
Very surprised that this is not a Titan push here from Hype Unit. I mean, you've got 30 seconds plus on 2 of these members. Pitbull's going to try and get in here and cause some disruption, and Hype Unit should be able to focus him pretty easily.
A lot of damage just from the Fire Giant pools and abilities, though. If nothing else, Pitbull has accomplished his goal of spicing things up here, buying the time. The Fire Giant, I don't think, got leashed in all of that, so it's still going to be half HP here, working their way through the final little bit of HP. Pitbull's not there to contest anymore. It's a valiant effort. Or is he still here? He's going to be able to work his way back into this team fight. Hype Unit still gets the Fire Giant and almost insta-gibbed with those 5 strong Fire Giant buffed players. Everybody moving now on through space and time. Got it right, as this probably is going to be the final send-off here. Up into the air goes Thor, up over the air goes Jormungandr, finding the first kill. What a cool skin, what a cool ultimate, man. I don't know.
Yeah, if you haven't played Jorm, you're doing yourself a disservice. This god is too cool. Hype Unit playing it pretty cool, maybe a little bit too much so as they wait for the Phoenix to respawn. They'll get it. Still not pushing for the Titan.
Wanting to play this one slowly. I mean, it's kind of been the theme of this whole game and whole set even. Hype Unit have played this one respectfully, slowly, moving, I think, with confidence and with patience throughout each decision that they choose to make here. Finally, getting a little skippy on this final team fight. Might have the chance to end it here. Final Phoenix standing here in the right-hand side lane. Still hasn't gone down. Weakened left Phoenix goes down again. They are really taking their time with this one. They don't want to let it slip.
I'm just surprised. I mean, once you clear mid-Phoenix, the worry is at a 37-minute team fight that if we get wiped going for Titan, we're going to lose the game. But because of the way that Fatal Ambition was staggered, something that you have more experience with as a kind of point-based FPS, you stagger these kills. Even if Fatal Ambition wipe you, JPrro and Pitbull were on the respawn for so long, there's no way you lose the game. You probably don't even lose a Phoenix. Maybe you do just from the damage from Ullr alone, but at worst case, you're losing a Phoenix. You're not losing the game, and the upside is very high.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. Yeah, I think that that Hype Unit probably a little bit too conservative there in this game. Really, I don't even think they should have gone for fire after they killed 2. You got a 5-on-3 with 2 Phoenixes down. That Titan is super weak. Just get in there, man. Just do what you've been doing all game to the players. You know, do what Inbound's been doing, getting in there, just onto the objective.
This has been more back and forth in game number 1. Wolves is going to find, frankly, a nice little bit of poke damage out onto JPrro, forcing him back. As the grouping clearly around the final Phoenix. It's all that stands between Hype Unit and the Titan. You're attacking from this lane anyway. 40 minutes on the clock here. Potentially the final engagement of the game. Hype unit can take it. Blink Cataclysm comes through. Space and Time won't find a whole lot into the back line. Not a pen. Takes a lot of pressure as the rest of Hype unit surges forward, up, down, one more time. Soul Reaper. He's not going to feel the final dive of Jormungandr. Anvil of Dawn goes a little bit wide out as well, but the kills are still there. Sonic Boom grabs a stun onto 2, but Wolves just too tanky to really feel that one. He's done such a good job at eating initiation and turning it around.
Crimson finds number 17, half
Holy.
of Hype Unit's 34 belong to the long lane Susano. They will find the 2-0 sweep. Don't mess up my man's perfect 50% of your kills, guys. Kill the Titan. Come on.
There it is, falling lower and lower. Last couple of percents just being cleaned up here. Playing with Geb a little bit in the fountain. Maybe want to inflate some of those player damage stats in hopes of catching Crimson. But it will still be the 2-0 there. Hype unit, great stuff there. But I gotta say, overall very impressed by their opponents as well. Being able to take the lead multiple times in that game despite having such a rough start.
No doubt. I mean, they made plays. That's really what it came down to. Not a pen was making plays. JPrro had a couple really nice ultimates. Really good attempts by Fatal Ambition. But ultimately, when Crimson's getting 17 kills, you're going to have a tough time.
That is a lot. Got off to an early start thanks to Inbound. I think he did a great job as well on the Guan Yu support, constantly in people's faces. Decent amount of player damage as well, and a ton of healing.
Yeah, Inbound is the exact type of support I hate playing against the most. It just gives you no room to breathe. It's the dude playing pickup basketball who just like is on your hip the entire time. Except this is actually for real. It's not the pickup levels of serious. Inbound just never lets you have a little bit of space.
Yeah, this was one of, I think, 2 or 3 early gank attempts, at least 2 of them resulting in kills. Crimson just with so many kills. I think 17 is usually the team-wide total that I usually see in games of SMITE, but my man's had 17 of the 34 for Hype Unit. Hype Unit took their time. They didn't really go for many low percentage plays. They wanted to make sure whatever call it was they were making, they were damn sure it was going to work out for them.
And they just need to find that balance, I think, with this team. Like I was saying earlier, they're a very aggressive team by nature, probably a little bit to a fault earlier on in their career as a team. They go against a lot of the best end of the teams of the world at MSI. They kind of learn that you have to play slow, you have to play this more calculated game, and they may be over-adjusting a little bit. I think that if they're going to beat those best teams in the world, because they're going to have to try at placement week in order to make it to HRX for that extra, PC world sort of bracket, you've got to have that edge still. You got to have that confidence to say, hey, we're going to push for the end. We're going to push to try and win. You can't play their game entirely. You got to take a little bit from them, learn a little bit, and then go with your own play style.
Hype Unit definitely looking like they're refining play at both ends of the spectrum. Hopefully can meet somewhere in the middle. They've got a long road ahead if they want to claim some hardware again this year. A great sweep from them. We're going to throw it to a quick little break before Aggro wraps up the day.
Skillshot, the official production partner of the SMITE Console League.
welcome back, everybody, to the SMITE Console League desk. I'm Aggro. I'll be closing out your day for you. And if you haven't seen, by the way, you haven't loaded into SMITE the last few days, what have you been doing? Because you've been missing out on the sick new battle pass. Pirate Queens is the name of it. Make sure you go in and get all of your Pirate Queen skins just by playing SMITE. It's a great deal for you right there. You had a great deal of fun if you watched today. A lot of great games, sweeps across the board, but it's some close ones included in that. On the second half of the day, we started in NAPS4. And Big Money Esports managed to find a crucial win over E-Boys Gone Wild. Crucial because Nemesis was up against Cavalry, and we got the result we expected there. 6-2 now for both Nemesis and Big Money Esports as we close in on those HRX qualifiers. As for the Xbox side of things, Hype Unit takes care of business up against Fatal Ambition, but it was a close one in Game 2. A lot of fun to watch. If you just joined that back half, Crimson turns out pretty good on a lot of different characters, Susano included. 17 kills for him in that Game 2. And as I mentioned, it's all in the name of getting to this HRX Placement Week qualifier, November 3rd through the 8th. Only the top teams in each region will be making it to this bracket, and then the best 2 teams of all of those squads going to Placement Week will make it to the World Championship November 15th through the 17th. So we just concluded Week 9. Only 4 more weeks of play, or 3 weeks of play are left, right? 10, 11, 12, 13. I can count. It's 4 more weeks of play as we are a 13-week phase here. So only about a month left to get ready for that Placement Week qualifier. So make sure you're tuned in each and every Monday to make sure you know exactly who's going, particularly in the PS4 regions, as Xbox seems all but concluded right now. It's going to be Rival and Hype Unit coming out of those 2 regions. But PS4 could be Out Cold, could be Aerial Arise, in Europe that is, and then in North America, of course, between Big Money Esports and Nemesis. So make sure you tune in each and every Monday for that action. Tomorrow we've got our SMITE Minor Leagues. We'll see you here bright and early, 11 a.m. on mixer.com/SmiteGame. Until then, you can peach it.